One day I will have a really exciting intro for you all, and there will be lots of music, and there'll be flashing photos and fun graphics and all of the things. But until then, this is what we get. So, welcome to my YouTube. If you are brand new here, my name is Erica Eileen. I'm a confidence coach. I specialize in body, bedroom, and business confidence, but I like to talk about absolutely everything and anything in between. As we know, confidence is a compass term for lots of different things. So that's what we talk about here on my channel. If you're an OG, I love you. Thanks for being here again. If you are back from week one, thanks for supporting me. Thanks for helping me hit my goals. I honestly didn't know what to expect for episode one. I just kind of threw it up. I'm the type of person that's like, I just have to get it out, and then I can figure out strategy. I can figure out the details later. I can put things together. But I am very much a person that if it's not out, it's not going to happen. So I appreciate all the love from episode one. Today's episode is all about how to build confidence when you feel like a hot mess, which in 2025, it feels like probably a lot of us are in that boat. Oftentimes we feel like a hot mess when there's a big change happening, whether it's a breakup, whether it is a career change, whether you are moving, whether just something in your life has drastically happened. And sometimes it feels like we're starting from the beginning. And you also might feel like a hot mess if you are just someone that is new to the journey of confidence and you don't really know where to start. So today we're going to talk about some tips and tricks, some questions to ask yourself, and we'll just go over that. And I'll give you my inside deets on when I'm feeling like absolute shit, what I do to build my confidence. Before we get started though, please like, subscribe, comment, all of the things. Send this to a friend who might be also a hot mess or also feeling like they've hit rock bottom. It will probably be a very helpful episode for them. And as always, follow along on my Instagram for more every single day fun. But until then, let's get started. I'm going to do 5 tips for you. And then I'm going to give you my personal, like absolute must-haves when I'm feeling like I'm a hot mess and I need to revamp my confidence. Okay. If you are someone that feels like you are a hot mess, first and foremost, you're not alone. Okay. A lot of things can put us into this mindset that we've hit rock bottom, that we're a mess, that we're almost like incurable or we are incapable of building confidence. Sometimes it is a confidence related issue. And I just want to say that sometimes it's a mental health issue. Sometimes it's things outside of your control. We can't really take away oppression. We can't take away poverty. We can't take away all of these things that exist in our systems around us with confidence. So confidence is great. It's a tool to have, but it's not going to solve all your problems. And it can't necessarily replace the things that are outside of your control or that are systemically embedded in the way that we exist every day. So the first thing I just want to say is that it's really important to recognize and understand if your rock bottom or if your hot mess is coming from you and your actions or your inactions, or if it's a system or a byproduct of the systems that are working against you right now. It's important to just decipher the two because confidence is felt in your feelings, it's felt in your body, it's felt in your thoughts, and so is mental health. So oftentimes I have clients that come to me and they have problems with things. And oftentimes it's something to do with mental health. It's something to do with the existence of how they are, and it's something outside of their control. And so what I like to remind people is that we can work around it, we can work with it, but we can't fix it. So just being gentle with yourself and recognizing that confidence is not going to solve every single issue, but is it going to make it better? And is it going to make you navigate it with a little bit more ease? Yeah, absolutely. Okay. When it comes to being a hot mess, when it feels like you're at your rock bottom, it's the hardest thing to do, but you have to be really honest and real with yourself. Anytime I felt like I was at rock bottom, I was constantly trying to lie to myself about why I felt that way. It was my parents' fault. It was the job that I was working. It was my boss's fault. It was, I don't have ABC. And I was really stuck in this mindset that in order to not be a hot mess, I had to have my life look a certain way. Okay. So the first thing that we have to do is just be really honest and real with ourselves. Is it a mental health thing? Is it ADHD? Is it depression? Is it grief? Is it losing your job? Is it poverty? Is it discrimination at work? Like, what is causing you to feel this way? And is it something that you've done or haven't done? Part of having confidence is allowing yourself to self-reflect without self-blame. So I always tell my clients, like, if you are in a position where you have to be real with yourself, you have to be able to say, I'm in this position because I didn't make these decisions or I didn't take these actions, and that's why I'm here. But it stops there. It doesn't go, and I'm an idiot for that, or I'm stupid for that, or I'm such an immature freak for that, or whatever it is that you're telling yourself. When you add shame to something that already holds shame, which is the rock bottom feeling, you're adding layers. Okay. We don't need layers. We need to layer our hair. We need to layer our makeup. We need to layer a lot of things, but we don't need layers in how we're feeling. So the first thing that you need to do is just get real with yourself, but allow yourself to stop at, okay, I got here because I didn't take action, or I got here because I didn't step out of my comfort zone, or I got here because I didn't listen to this piece of advice when I knew I should have, and now I'm here. And that's it. That's where it stops, okay? It's really hard to be real with ourselves without the shame, but it is going to allow you to push past it faster. So if you're stuck in this cycle of shame and thinking that it's your fault and that you're the one to blame and that you don't deserve anything good because you put yourself in that situation, you're never going to be able to get to step 2 or step 3 or step 4. So if you're still in that cycle of shame, you can work towards self-compassion, which I think is one of the hardest things when it comes to confidence, is actually knowing how to release yourself from the shame. For me, I always find talking to people online, looking at TikToks of people in the same boat. Sometimes when it has to do with like money or relationships, I just find people that are going through the same thing and realize that it's not an internal problem. It's not just my problem. It's something that a lot of people can struggle with. And it just kind of takes away the personalization of it and allows you to be like, okay, I'm not the only one who's fucked up. Shame like has this really great way of making you feel lonely in it, right? It allows you to think that you are the only one that's struggling with that situation, that you are the only one that got yourself in there. And that's why people typically don't talk about shame and they don't talk about the things that they're struggling with because they feel alone in it. Anytime that you've felt ashamed of something, you probably have like opened up about it, maybe to a friend, maybe they've shared that they've gone through it, maybe it's a coworker, and instantly you feel better. Instantly you don't feel as alone. That's what you essentially have to allow yourself to do with the feelings that you're having right now. So if you are going through a breakup, if you've lost your job, if you are unsure of what you need to do with your life, find people that look like you, that are your age, that are in similar situations so that you can realize that you have to just remove the internal shame. You have to remove the internal pressure to believe that it was just you so that you can keep moving on. Okay. What comes with being real with yourself is asking yourself what's got to go. I hate this question because what's got to go typically comes with hard conversations and big decisions, which if you're at rock bottom, the last thing you want to do is make any more change or kind of like destroy your life even more. I have clients that come to me all the time and they're like, okay, I feel like I'm at rock bottom. And I'm like, okay, we need to get rid of this partner and we need to get rid of this friend and these clothes need to go and we need to change this, this, and this. And they're like, I cannot handle more shit. Like my life already feels like I have nothing. It already feels like everything is destroyed. And I'm like, well, the reason why it feels that way is because it's not in alignment. So you have to ask yourself what has to go. I typically start with clothes and the things in my actual environment, a good purge of your car, a good purge of your bedroom, your clothing, your makeup, skincare, whatever the fuck it is that doesn't feel like it's working for you. Put it aside, put it away, donate it, give it to a friend, whatever it looks like, so that you can make room for what's going to work. Okay. The second one is always people. Sometimes we have friends, sometimes we have acquaintances. I like to call them like lingerers, right? Sometimes we have relationships that linger and we're like, I don't actually need this relationship right now, or this friendship isn't actually serving me, but it's lingering because it's really hard to have those conversations. It's really intimate to be able to say, hey, this doesn't work for me anymore, or like, I'm not getting what I need to out of this. But when you cut those ties, when you allow those lingers to go, whether again, it's makeup, it's clothes, it's people, whatever, you make space for something that will be more fitting and it allows you to grow and not put your energy towards the things that you don't need to, right? If you're a hot mess, if you're at the very beginning of your journey, you don't need to be putting the tiny energy that you have towards someone that's not going to uplift you or something that's not going to benefit you in the near future. So I would say people, and sometimes that's as simple as even just saying, hey, I don't have capacity to hang out all the time anymore. I need to focus on me. I need to give myself some more time. And that doesn't mean that the friendship's ending or the relationship is ending. There's been so many times in my life where I've texted all of my best friends just saying, hey, I gotta kind of like tighten the ropes here. And that means less spending time having fun, less traveling, less spending on going out. Like these are the things that I need for myself. I'm feeling really disconnected. I'm feeling like everything's at the loose grip, right? Like it's like coming out of my fingers. And they've been like, fuck yeah, bitch, do it. Like, I'm so proud of you. Like, we'll chat when we chat. We'll meet up when we meet up. So it doesn't necessarily always come with an ending of a friendship, but sometimes you do just need to, yeah, get real with yourself and ask yourself like, what's gotta go. Okay. The next one is habits. Habits are really tricky, but I like to believe that if I want to thrive, if I want to feel good, if I want to change, I know from doing this so many times that I have to be strict with myself. I have to have some self discipline. That's not out of a place of hate, it's more so out of a place of love, knowing that if I'm feeling like a hot mess, it's likely because I'm out of routine. I'm not doing the things that I love. I'm not eating the foods that make me happy. I'm not hanging out with the people that bring me joy and fill up my cup. So, even just asking yourself what habits and routines need to come and allowing yourself to be like, okay, this is like something that I need, and this is something that I need to adjust. This past week, for example, I don't feel like a hot mess, to be honest, but I didn't wake up and do my morning walks, which is something that I'm very strict with because it helps my diabetes. It helps my mindset. It also gives me an hour to walk while I also work for the day. And I do a lot of my social media at that time so I can get it done. And I just honestly haven't been doing it this week. I don't know if it's the weather change. I am going away for a month, so I'm kind of stressed about that. And honestly, I was just out of routine. My mom was out of town, which sounds kind of funny, but even that small change, right, allowed me to be like, oh, like I don't really feel myself. I don't feel as good. I don't feel as healthy. So going back and being like, what habits and what routines do I need to kind of tighten up in order to, yeah, put myself in a better position where I can start to thrive? So that's your first step. Okay. Get real with yourself, release from the shame, but be able to say, these are the things that are not working. And then asking yourself, like, what's got to go? Sometimes it will take you time to release from what you need. Okay, this isn't like you sit down and you have a list of friends that you need to, end friendships with, and you just cross it off every 5 minutes and you send a check and you're like, or you send a text and you're like, okay, I'm good. Sometimes it will take time, but at least just being intentional and aware of it will be your first step. Okay, the second one is asking yourself, what does thriving mean to you? Thriving to me looks very different than what it's going to look like to you. And oftentimes people struggle with their confidence because they're chasing an image of confidence that's not theirs. So they're trying to be like so and so, or they see their friend doing ABC and they think that they have to do that as well. It's very easy to be influenced when you see someone who's not at rock bottom or who doesn't look like a hot mess to be like, oh, if I just do what they're doing, if I just look what they look like, then I will be fine as well. And it's not always the case. The people that have the best confidence transformations in my program are very good at getting clear at what they need and what it looks like to thrive for them. So for some people, thriving is brushing their teeth, waking up every day and going for a little walk, and maybe wearing clothes if they work at home instead of PJs. That is for them, like that's a thrive. Okay. When I started my business, I remember telling my business coach that thriving in my business meant that I wore ripped jeans and I had eggs for breakfast. And she laughed at me. And I was like, no, this is like what I genuinely feel like would be thriving, because right now in my job that I had, I was rushing out the door. I wasn't allowed to wear ripped jeans, so I was uncomfortable every day. And I was just always like eating really randomly and picking at what the kids were eating and whatnot. And I didn't feel good. And so I said, my like thriving for me would be to have proper meals and to wear the clothes that I like. And that has been my motivator for 6 years. It's not my only motivator, but it's a really strong one. And it's the one that I go back to when my business isn't necessarily feeling like it's thriving or that I'm in it the way that I want it to. I go back and ask myself, like, are you making your breakfast? Are you going for the walks that you said you wanted to go to? Are you wearing clothes during the day instead of your PJs? And oftentimes it's a really good start for me because that in my head is an example of thriving. So when you're sitting there asking yourself, like, okay, I'm at rock bottom, like, you have to be honest and ask yourself, like, what does thriving look like to you? Not what it looks like to the influencers, not what it looks like to me. When you do that, you set completely different standards because they have to do with you and your resources and your capabilities. Okay. There's no point comparing what thriving is with someone who doesn't have the same resources as you. I personally do not look at the word thriving or ask myself where I want to go and compare myself to someone who has 12 people who are working for them, who have a completely different business, who live in a different country, who have partners and family who are helping them. Like, that's not going to make sense for me because that's not what I have right now, nor is it what I want. So for me, thriving is paying my bills. It's enjoying some travel. It's being able to go here and there if I need to. It's actually also spending time with my family, being able to take off weekends if I want to go have fun. I'm sleeping. Thriving to me is like I'm sleeping normally, not at 3 a.m. I'm getting up and I feel rested. I'm able to do my self care. I'm showering. I am going and supporting things in the community, right? And so when you finally are able to nail down what that looks like for you, you will find that you might not be as much of a hot mess, or you might not be lacking as much as you actually think you are when you remove those blinds. How to find out what it means to thrive for you? The first thing that I would say is go through a journal prompt that I do with my clients where I just ask them what a typical dream day would look like if they were existing in their dream day today. So I would say, like, okay, for me, I like wake up and I go to the ocean or I go to the water and I get a coffee and then I eat my breakfast and I come home and I put on a cute outfit because I am really into fashion right now. And then I would go and do some client calls. I would film, I would have some content. Then I would have the afternoon to have a nap. Maybe I would go see a friend, right? And so even though like all of those things are very capable for me right now. I can't go to the ocean, but I can go to my local beach, right? Or I could listen to beach music, or I could indulge in any type of visibles or audios that bring me that feeling. So there's lots of ways to thrive without actually being in your dream life, but going through morning to night and just asking yourself, like, what would a thriving day look like and what would you do? And you'll be shocked at how much you're actually already doing and just how many tiny little tweaks that you need to make in order to make it fully encompassing. Okay. The next question that you have to ask yourself is, like, what resources do you have? If you want to build yourself up from rock bottom or feeling like a hot mess, you have to know what your resources are. You cannot build a life that you want if you don't have the resources or the tools to do it. Okay. If you want to be traveling on a private jet, but you're not making private jet money, okay, you like that can't be a thrive for you. That can't be the top. That can be a goal, but it doesn't need to be what's in front of you right now. So being real and honest with yourself and just saying, what are my resources? Do I have support for emotional support? Do I have financial support? Do I have family support? Do I have coworkers? Like, do I have time? Do I have money? Do I have all of these things, right? There's lots of different types of resources. It's not necessarily just financial resources. But for me, for example, when I'm thinking about increasing my life, I'm like, okay, I have a gym membership and I love moving, and I'll talk about that in a bit. Let me utilize that a bit more. There's yoga. Let me utilize that. That would actually probably help me remove myself from rock bottom if I actually just spend more time with myself and gentle with myself and give myself pleasurable things. I have money, so that's good. I don't have a ton of it per se by the guidelines of what it means to have money, but I know I have enough money to do some of the things that I want. I have time, so I know I can do that, right? But everyone's different. If you're a single mom with 3 kids, if you are someone who has 2 jobs right now, like, you're not going to have maybe time resources. So then it's just being reflective and asking yourself, like, is there a way for you to get that back? I currently have a client who's phenomenal, and they are just so overwhelmed with everything. And they came to me because they were like, my business is crashing. I'm crashing. And then my business is crashing. Like, they were like, everything just is here. And I was like, well, we have to look at what we have. And so one of the things that we noticed was that they don't have tons of time to cook, nor do they have the energy for it, but they have the money for it. So they were like, if I spend money on these food, what's this called? Like the food packages, like the Factor or like HelloFresh. They're like, if I spend money on that, which I have, then I will release this frustration that I have about not eating. If I'm eating properly, I'm gonna feel good, not only about and in my body, but I'm gonna feel good about my habits, that I'm showing up for myself, I'm fueling myself so I can do better in my business. I'm gonna have brain power to then make more money. And then when I have more money, I can do the things that I really want to do in the future. Right. And so sometimes it's just being very clear with what resources you have, and then also to which ones you can utilize to the max. The biggest thing I would say about resources is asking yourself what one's going to have the biggest impact. So if you are someone that is like, okay, I have no time, but if I could just get back time, it would be the biggest impact that I could have. Oftentimes when it comes to resources, give or take, but oftentimes it's a compromise of something. So with my client, for example, they compromised their money with getting time and their nutrition and their routine back, right? For some people, you have to compromise your time for money. So if you're going to get a second job, or if you're going to do dog walking or nannying or whatever, you're going to be giving up your social time or maybe some sleeping time in order to do it. But as a byproduct, you're going to get money. And if that's something that you need, then that's going to help you feel like you're not a hot mess. Okay. So being really honest about what is going to help me the most and what is going to be this maybe a safe risk, but also a big outcome. And that's something that I always look for when I'm kind of like trying to revamp myself, or if I'm feeling like I'm kind of lost, I ask myself, like, what is going to have the biggest impact for me? And how can I get that more? And what do I have to give up in order to have that? The next thing that you have to know if you are trying to climb yourself out of the bottom is you need to have a why. And oftentimes we really focus on the why being something that is society approved almost. For me, I will be honest, my biggest why for I'd say 90% of my goals right now is so that I can go travel in December. Like the reason why my business is going, because I'm like, I need to travel. The reason why I'm trying to make money, travel. The reason why I'm saving, travel. The reason why I'm going for walks every day, travel. The reason why I'm growing my hair out, so I can travel and put my hair up and I don't have to worry about it when I'm swimming in the ocean every day. Like that is my why. It's my only why. And that is enough. So even if your why is completely wild, it's unhinged, maybe even it doesn't make sense to people, that's fine. It has to make sense. Has to make sense for you, and it has to be your motivator. If you are not motivated by money, setting a money goal isn't going to help you build yourself from a hot mess position. If you're not motivated by travel, it's not going to matter. You have to ask yourself what your why is. For some people, it's as simple as I just want to feel good when I sleep, or like I want to feel good when I go for a walk, or whatever. But you have to be really clear on your why, and you have to keep it right in front of you, because it's very easy when you're in a position of vulnerability in terms of your confidence or feeling like you're at rock bottom to lose sight of that. Like even for myself, if I have a bad week, I'm like, what the fuck is the point? And then I'm like, no, Erica, the point is to go and travel. The point is to go and be overseas for 4 months next winter. So show up today. It's very, very easy to lose track of the motivation when everything feels hard. Okay. So if your why is really far out of reach right now, so like if your why is like, I want to retire my parents, and you're like, I'm barely making $3,000 a month to pay for my bills, that is not going to be motivating because it feels impossible. Whereas if it's like, I want to make enough money so that I can start giving my mom $70 a month, or I can start giving my dad $500 a month extra for their bills, utilize that instead. Okay. 1 second. Okay. I hate water. Side note, not an ad. I hate water. I wish I was honestly one of those people that was like, water is the best thing ever. To me, it's not. I've released my shame from that because I also used to carry so much shame with it. But if you don't drink enough water, there's this is like a hydration. This is an electrolyte. It's from Mio, and it tastes like the liquid IV dupe. It's $3.25 Canadian for 10 sachets. And I'm pretty sure like 10 sachets of the liquid IV are 20 something. Okay. I get it from No Frills in Canada. I get it from Sobeys, but Sobeys it's $7 there. And I throw it in one of these a day. I drink this for a week, and then I get a new water bottle and I go on. And I have been chugging water. My skin is glowing. My pee is clear. I'm rested. I'm hydrated. So there's your hot tip for you. That. Okay, keep moving on. The next thing that you have to adapt when you are in a position of just starting over or starting fresh is allowing yourself to say, this is a trial run. Everything for me when I start is a trial run. This episode is a trial run. Last week's episode is a trial run. This sitting in this chair is a trial run. The audio here instead of in my chest is a trial run. Everything has to be a trial run. When you tell yourself it's a trial run, what happens is it releases the pressure for you to be perfect, for you to get it right the first time. If you're a hot mess right now, if you're at rock bottom, if you literally feel like you have nothing else to give, the fear of failure is huge, right? Because the risk is really high. You're like, if one more thing goes wrong, I'm not too sure what I'm going to do with myself. That is a very real feeling. I have a client right now who was like, if I spend an hour on a post and it doesn't do what it needs it to do, or it doesn't land me a client or make me money, like I feel like I'm going to spiral. And I was like, that's fair. But also, too, we have to allow things to not have an outcome. We have to allow things to not work. That feeling of desperation is going to exhaust you. And it's fair, right? Like being in a position of survival at times, right? Like everything matters. But when you allow yourself to say some of these things can be trial runs, or some of these actions that I'm going to do are trial, it might not work, it might not. It releases yourself from that pressure that you have to figure it out, and also have yourself out of a hot mess in like 2 days. Okay. If you got yourself into a hot mess, if you're feeling like a hot mess, if you've been a hot mess, it's not going to go away instantly. And it might take a little bit of tweaking. And I always like to tell people it's like when you're doing a puzzle, okay? You don't just pick a freaking piece out of the 1,000 pieces and put it down and go, you're supposed to be there. And then you don't pick another one and you put it beside and you're like, and that one clicks perfectly. It doesn't work that way for life as well. Sometimes you pick a piece and you think it goes somewhere, but it actually has to be turned around. Or sometimes it's not even supposed to be there. It's supposed to be on the other side and it looks similar, but it's very different. If you allow yourself to just adapt, this is a trial run, trial and error, I'm going to see how this goes. You release yourself from that fear that if it fails, that everything else will come crashing down. Now, I wouldn't say this about big risks. Like, I wouldn't say, like, oh, just willy nilly, really big decisions. But if it comes to your routine, your habits, your interests, your food that you're eating, the joy that you're doing, like all those little actions that you're going to be doing daily to try to pull yourself up and build your confidence, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. It is not a big deal. I have so many clients that find their confidence in millions of ways. And I'm like, that would never work for me. And they're like, my confidence is 12 out of 10 when I do this thing. And I'm like, okay, cool. It wouldn't work for me, but it works for them. Okay. Advice that you find online from me, from other people, you have to take it with a grain of salt, and not in a negative way and saying that they're lying, but in a way that you have to ask yourself, like, does this align with my lifestyle or my goals or my needs? And sometimes it does, but it has to look a little bit different. So there's always like those pieces of content, and this is no shade, but it's always like, wake up at 5 a.m., go to the gym, get my green juices in the morning, like all my vitamins, yeah. Like, I'm so healthy. In the morning, I'm like, I can barely function. So for me in the morning, I don't wake up and do all of my health stuff. I do it at the end of the night, and it works for me. I do my walking, I do my fitness, I do my stretching, I do my vitamins, I do my green powders, I do my hydration, everything at night, and it works. I'm still doing the thing that they say to do that's going to help you have a great day, but I do it at night and I still have a fine day. Okay? So really just allowing yourself to be very open about taking a piece of advice and playing around with it. So here are my personal ways that I find my confidence, that I build it up if I'm not feeling good. These are things that I typically do in my head or I start to like think about as I'm navigating. And then there's actions, right? So if you want to build your confidence, if you want to come out of your hot mess express era, you do have to do a lot of reflecting, but don't sit on it for 3 months. Okay. The best thing you can do is think and do, think and do, think and do. People who do are so much farther ahead than the people that think. And this is not to necessarily say like people with anxiety or overthinkers in the terms of like it's debilitating at times. This is just more so like if I'm like, okay, I'm craving movement, I don't sit for 2 months trying to be like, what type of movement? Bitch, I'm in this freaking gym trying splits and I'm like, okay, yeah, maybe it is flexibility that I want. I'm going to a pull class. I'm trying different classes at the gym that I go to. I'm going back to lifting and I'm like, hell no, definitely not that. Thought it was. Okay, so what was I saying? Mm, okay, completely lost my thought. Totally fine. But yeah, I don't even know. That is crazy. Like there is not a thought in my brain right now about where I was. I love that for me. Okay, so we're gonna move on. So, oh yes, action and doers. Thank you, Erica. Right. Have a plan, do some thinking, start moving. Move through it, figure it out. It will come to you faster than if you sit there and try to come up with the perfect plan to get yourself out of this position that you're in and then doing. The only way through it, only way over it is through it. Okay. So you can't ignore it. You can't plan yourself through it. You can't set everything up perfectly. And I will tell you this too, my clients, God bless them, the ones that are super, super anal about action plans and this, and this, and they have everything sorted out, they have so much more energy into the plan. And then when it comes to execute it, they just sit there because it's just supposed to be perfect or it's supposed to be this one way. And if something's not the way that they thought it was going to be, the whole plan is ruined. My best clients, and I don't say that in terms of like who's better or worse, but like my best results, I would say, are from clients who learn how to just snap out of their thoughts and just get their body moving in whatever direction that it is. So again, my personal things that I like to do, the first thing I always look at is my movement routine. I personally believe that movement just allows fresh blood and oxygen and thoughts to move through your body. When I have anxiety, when I'm overthinking and I'm sitting, I almost like feel in my body my thoughts like spewing and stewing, and it's like pulling me down. So anytime I'm anxious, anytime I feel like shit, anytime I'm like, oh my gosh, like shit's not working out for me, I go to my movement routine and it's always walking. Walking, I will If walking has no fans, I'm dead, because walking has truly changed my routine. It's changed my health. It's changed my mindset. It's changed my coping mechanisms. A little walk around the block really stops me from doing a lot of stupid shit. So I typically first start at my movement routine and get that really clear. And again, trial and error with whatever works for you. The second thing that I look at is I purge everything. I start with my office, I do my bedroom, I do my clothes, I do my makeup. I just do a big day of purging. Is that going to fix everything? No. But sometimes I look at stuff and I'm like, I don't even like that. Or like, no wonder I don't feel joy, or I don't feel sexy, or I don't feel confident when I wear that because it makes me feel like shit, or I never have worn it ever. So purge, 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 get rid of what's not working. This could also be friends. This could also be apps. This could be products. This could be anything. But if you look at something, or if you think of something and it doesn't bring you instant, like, fuck yeah, I'm so proud of this, or I love that, then take a look at the relationship that you have with it. The third one is I focus in on my joy. If I want to thrive, I have to have thriving energy, and anxiety, depression, fear, and shame do not bring me that thriving, uplifting energy that I'm looking for. There's a place for them, and they're all valid feelings. And I'm not saying just be positive all the time, but what I am saying is focus in on the joy, focus in on the things that make you happy. If it's crafting, if it's coloring, if it's snacks, if it's sunshine, if it's friends, if it's texting, if it's music, amplify that. Allow yourself to know that are when you allow joy and pleasure to exist in your life, you're telling yourself that you deserve good things. You're telling your brain that you deserve better. You're telling your brain that you deserve to feel uplifted and happy and confident. And when you do that, it builds that dopamine receiver in your brain that's like, I want more of this. I want more. I want that. To be completely honest, I've had a really draining week, which is why my energy feels a little bit draining today. But I knew that I had to record today. And when I woke up, I was like, oh, the last thing. The last thing that I want to do today is record. The last energy that I have today is like uplifting, joyful, fun, giggy, whatever it is. Before this, I was in my Spotify blasting Gimme 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 by ABBA. I was blasting Heads Will Roll. I was blasting Britney Spears. I was blasting every song until my energy started to shift. Did it work 100%? No. But did it allow me to start to think in a more positive way, in a more uplifting way? Did it bring up my energy? Yes. So anything that brings you joy, do it often, and just pack your freaking day with it. Food, music, movement, friends, dancing, things that you're looking at, things that you're listening to, everything, just pack it into your life. Because again, your brain will start looking for more and more joy, which is going to make you do the things that you should be doing instead of maybe feeling like you're stuck in rock bottom and that all you deserve is to feel like shit or to feel like chaos. The next one is a daily follow through. I have a rule with my clients and a method that I teach them called the 3x3. This method is really good for overthinkers and people who attach their self-worth to productivity. Okay. Oftentimes we feel like a hot mess, or we feel like we have low confidence because we're never doing enough, or we never feel like we are fulfilled. So the 3x3 rule is that you do 3 things every day that you have to do, and then 3 things that you would like to do. If you don't get to the 3 things that you would like to do, then it's fine. But the 3 things that you have to do might one day be brush your teeth, stick your head out of the window to get some fresh air, and make your bed. The next thing it might be send an email, drive into the city, and apply for jobs. It can change every single day. But what happens is when you're trying to build your confidence, when you're trying to pull yourself out of this position where you feel like you are at rock bottom, you have to have examples of times that you've shown up for yourself, and you have to build your self-trust. Okay. If you're at rock bottom, you're having a hard time making decisions, it's likely because you don't trust yourself to make the decisions that you know that you need to make. Okay. So oftentimes we are all sitting here being like, I know what I need to do. Truly, even right now, like when I said that in my head, I'm like, I know what I need to do to fix the things that I'm like about. But it can be really difficult, right? And the reason why it's difficult is because a lot of us don't trust ourselves to do it. We don't have data that shows us that it's going to be okay or that it's safe to do so. So as a result, and rightfully so, we don't do it. So the best way that you can start pulling yourself out is to build that daily follow through, so that you start to tell yourself that you are capable and that you can trust your decisions and that you can do something and that you can follow through. If you tell yourself every day that you're going to do these 3 things and you do it, I can tell you right now, you're going to all of a sudden be like, wait, I'm doing more stuff without even realizing, because your brain is like, yes, you can do it. You're capable. You have that ability. And you'll find yourself starting to do things that you maybe never thought that you could do before. I know for myself, I use this a lot in my walking or in steps or in cooking, even. I'm like, okay, if I cook myself breakfast, like that is one of the things I need to do for myself today so that I'm eating a proper diet, because with my meds, it makes me lose my appetite. So every time I make breakfast and I say I'm going to make breakfast, I'm like, yeah, bitch, you're that girl. You are that bitch. If I say I'm going to brush my teeth twice a day and I do it, I'm like, okay, so I might as well go to Harvard now. I might as well apply to be going into space with Katy Perry next month. Okay, so allowing yourself to have follow through, it does not have to be big. Okay, if you're at rock bottom, if you're a hot mess, you do not probably have the energy or the capacity to clean your house every day. You probably don't have the capacity to go for a 5,000 fucking kilometer run, but it might be, I'm going to brush my teeth, I'm going to clean out my garbage by my bedside, and I'm going to call my mom. If you do that and you tell your brain you're going to do that and you do it, you will have tenfold confidence compared to trying to do the big thing that you really want to do, but that you can't seem to get to. And then the next one that comes with that is celebration. You cannot build confidence. You cannot build yourself out of feeling like a hot mess if you do not allow yourself to celebrate the actions that you're taking. And oftentimes people don't celebrate. And what happens is they build this obsession with more. And I have clients that come to me and they're just so caught up in like wanting more and doing more and making more. And they're just like, they're never fucking satisfied because they never actually take 2 seconds, literally 2 seconds, to be like, you did that. You said you were going to do it and you did it, or you worked towards that and you fucking accomplished it. If you want to build confidence, it's not about getting to the place that you dream of being. Okay. I would literally never experience the feeling of confidence in my day to day if I only was going to be confident when I get to my end goal, which I don't even know what that looks like, to be honest. But I know, I know I have like a vision. Okay. If I was only confident when I got there, I'm going to be miserable. And I'm not actually probably going to get there because nothing's going to ever be good enough. And if I do get there, guess what happens? You go for more. You go for more. We see it with Elon Musk. We see it with billionaires. We see it with people all the time where it's like, when is enough enough? And part of it is greed. Part of it is, capitalism and everything. But like in an average person, sometimes you just have to be like, when, like quit it. Like enough is enough. You're good. Like take a moment and breathe. Take a moment and be proud of yourself. So if you are someone that is feeling rock bottom, I know it's easy to not celebrate yourself because you're not anywhere near you want to be, but you're damn well sure not going to get there if you're constantly beating yourself up. There is a saying that's like shame is like a demotivator. Like no one really grows through shame. And it's fucking true, right? If you think about like a child, right? And if you tell them, you suck in school, you suck in school, you suck in school, they're never going to feel good. They might lose hope. They might just be like, well, I'm never going to be good enough. So why the fuck bother? Versus if you're telling a kid, like, you're doing amazing. I'm so proud of you. Wow, I can see that you're really trying. They're going to be activated to keep going. It's why now at 32, I laugh about all the fucking diets that I went on, all the workout plans, all the personal trainers, all of the diet pills, because every single weight loss program that I did growing up was rooted in shame. And it was rooted in this belief that like I'm a bad person because I'm overweight. I never was. Let me just fucking say, I never was. There was no reason someone who was 18 years old and 154 pounds needed to be on fucking Jenny Craig. Okay. However, I believed that like I had to lose weight. And every time I went there, it was like a shameful thing if I was up to like 0.2 pounds in the 3 days, right? It was so fucking crazy. And then now that I know what I know, I'm like, yeah, no wonder I didn't get anywhere with that. I was unmotivated. Who's going to want to do something when they're never celebrated? I know for myself, if I do something well for one of my clients, or if I do something well for one of the people that I work for, or if a piece of content goes viral that I've done for a company and we get positive feedback, I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do it again. But if I was constantly putting out, like, let's just say, if I was constantly doing work for clients and they were like, oh, this is shit, or like, oh, you're not good enough, or I don't like you as a coach, that's going to affect my confidence. That's going to make me maybe try for a little bit, but eventually I'm going to be like, fuck this. I'm not good enough for you. Why would I follow through? So the biggest thing is to celebrate. Celebrate every little action. Today I got up, even though I didn't want to, and I was like, okay, girl, you're 3 hours later than you wanted to, but you did it. Great. I went for a walk, even though I didn't want to, and I was like, you went for a walk, girl. You got this. I filmed this probably. I started filming this like 19 times, and there's so many clips of me starting and then being like, fuck, I fucked up. But I kept going, and now I'm like sitting here. I'm like, girl, you're incredible. You're amazing. You can do anything. You can really do anything. So celebrate yourself and celebrate all the little actions that you're making, and you will start to build that confidence. Okay. The biggest thing too that I will say, my last thing on my list, is don't be afraid to ask for help. Okay. If you are a hot mess, if you are rock bottom, if you are sitting there just being like, what the fuck? There are resources, there's help, there are people out there that will help you, and it doesn't cost $1,000,000. There are so many free pieces of resources, there's so many free services, there's so many things. The worst thing you can do is assume that there's no one there to help or that no one would want to help. There's been so many times where people have reached out and have been like, I don't want to bother you, or they've been like, I don't want to I'm like, are you kidding me? One of my clients, I will never forget this. And it's such a minor example, but I just never forget because I was like, that would have taken me 2 seconds to do. But she had spent all day trying to remove the background of her photo on Canva. And finally, she was like, I'm so sorry to bother you for this stupid question, but I've been like trying to put this piece of content out. I can't do it. I can't figure out how you remove your background. And she's like, I've tried to trace it. I've tried to do all these things. And I was like, babe, I was like not upset with her, but I was like, why didn't you ask? And she's like, it felt so stupid. It felt so like minuscule. Like it really was the tiniest thing. I tried YouTube. I tried all these things. I couldn't fucking figure it out. And I'm like, I could have done that for you. I could have showed you a tutorial for like, not even joking, 21 seconds. Like I filmed it and I was like, that's all it took for me. And I told her, I'm like, just if it's something that you think you should know and you don't, like ask. Anyone's going to help you. Anyone wants to support you, right? I remember too in university when I was applying for schools, my dad kept being like, apply for scholarships, apply for scholarships. And I was like, there's none. Okay. I wasn't as smart as I am now, but I was like, oh, there are none. I've never seen them on like the news or like I've never seen them out and about. And then I ended up finding so many scholarships and I ended up with so much extra money that no one else had applied to. And he was like, you just have to inquire. You just have to ask. You just have to put yourself out there. And I'm going to encourage you to do the same. So feeling at rock bottom, feeling like you have no confidence, feeling like you don't know what the fuck is going on. I know it sucks. And it also sucks too if you've been confident or if you're like comparing yourself to previous versions of you. It can be really hard because you're like, I've had it and now I can't. And that's even more infuriating because you're like, I know I could have done it. Your confidence is going to take time. Your confidence is also going to change. My confidence and where I'm at now look completely different than literally August. Like in August of last year, y'all, bitch, I was sitting beside the pool at Jenna's and I was literally like, I don't know what to do with myself. Like, I love my business. I love this. I'm confident in what I'm doing, but like, I just have nothing. And I remember I was like struggling with my relationship that I was in at the time because it felt uncertain because he was uncertain and his life was uncertain and I didn't know what to do. And I also was like, my parents are moving back home after the summer. Like, there was just so many things. Mind you, it was not rock bottom by any chance. And I was not in danger. And there was no like real immediate threat, but I didn't feel my best. And I just remember being like, you have the resource, you know what to do here. Like, get back to the basics, get back to believing that you can, your daily doses of confidence, your daily doses of joy, your daily doses of follow through. And I'm not even joking, you guys, within a couple months, it was like night and day. Not even. I remember that meeting and I remember that therapy session because something else came from that and it was like game changer. So it was August 14th. And by the end of August, I had launched Start Strong because I was like, fuck, if I can do this for me, like maybe I can help others. And that Start Strong program was phenomenal. That launch was incredible. It helped so many people. Like, I still get messages to this day from people being like, and clients being like, oh my gosh, I still use what you taught me in Start Strong every month. And that was like 7 months ago. It was astronomical for people because I just took what I did for myself and gave it to someone. And that was within like a 2 week span of just having my meltdown and then being able to be like, okay, I'm actually back in business. So please ask for help, allow yourself to go back to the drawing board. And biggest thing is just being real with yourself and asking yourself, is this mental health? Is this something outside of my control? And even if it is something outside of your control, are there ways that you can take control of it in other ways? I can't control my diabetes, unfortunately. I can't control how the government does things, but I will continue to allow myself to be like, I deserve better and I can do better and I can have better. It might not be in the capacity that I want or the way that I would love it to be, but there are ways that I can do it. So that concludes episode 2. Next week, I have a special guest for you all. It's fun chats, it's friends chats, and I'm really excited about it. Again, please comment and like and share if you were interested in this episode. And if you have any topics that you would like me to dive into, I'm more than happy to do it. But have an amazing day or a night or whenever this finds you, and I will see you all in episode 3.